Hello and welcome. You're watching the Explosive Exclusive. I'm Padmaja Joshi. Thanks very much, Christine, for taking us through the top stories. A massive crackdown today started on news portal NewsClick with alleged illegal funding from China being under the scanner. After the Enforcement Directorate and Economic Offences Wing, now a fresh case has been filed against the stringent Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, or the UAPA. Delhi police have raided over 35 locations and seized electronic devices. Its founder, Prabir Porkayast, journalists Abhisar Sharma and Urmilesh are some of those who were questioned and then let off. Police have also sealed the Delhi office of NewsClick. Remember, in August last year, Times Now had exposed an elaborate mail trail. In fact, this year itself, we had exposed an elaborate mail trail which indicated that a US millionaire, Neville Roy Singham, was sending emails to Prabir Porkayas. There were several conversations, and the nub of the entire issue was this: that Chinese propaganda was being pushed through news portals. Some of these were linked directly to NewsClick. In fact, today, after the series of searches and questioning, here is what the lawyer of one of the people questioned said.
How did you get to know about your client and where is he? Have you managed to find him?
Actually, I am not allowed to enter inside, and they are also not informing me that where Satyam Tiwari is, and all the journalists are not allowed to meet their advocates. So this is totally a terrorist, I think, tyrannic situation. Government itself has become a terrorist. Government is terrorizing the people. Government is terrorizing the journalists, and I think that this is only because of the release of a caste census in Bihar, because the fascists.
That's a political aspect of this. What did you get to know about this particular development which is happening? How did you manage to know that your client would have come here?
Actually, they have informed me that I should wait. So I'm waiting here, and there are more and more lawyers will come. So we will join together.
What does Satyam Tiwari do? What is it?
Satyam Tiwari is a reporter in NewsClick, and I don't know details of that because I am from Human Rights Law Network, and I have come here to know that where is Satyam Tiwari and what is his condition.
Now, sources have told Times Now that this raid was carried out with over 500 police personnel called in. Mobiles of junior officers were kept at the police station to ensure that no details are leaked. We've also learned that the journalists have been asked 25 questions so far. Some of them were about Shaheen Bagh sit-in and protests that happened in the Northeast. Details of their foreign travels were also sought. The journalistic fraternity has expressed concern about the raids and have called UAPA a draconian law being used to target the press and intimidate them. In fact, several political parties have also called this a witch hunt at a time when the caste census is being spoken about. We will get you those political reactions in just a second, but I want to quickly cut across to Akanksha joining us now. The office has been sealed. People have been questioned. What's the current status of investigation, Akanksha?
Well, absolutely. It appears that news is tightening around NewsClick. Hours after raids were conducted, interrogations, in fact, several rounds of interrogation. And also, now what we are seeing here is that the office of NewsClick has been sealed. Let me go a little closer and show you that there is, in fact, a seal of special cell on this. I request my camera person to show this building. On the first floor of this building is the office of NewsClick. And the raids started here in the morning at around 11:30. The editor-in-chief of NewsClick was brought here and he was interrogated, and then we're getting to know that several devices were seized by the team of the special cell from here and were taken away. But at around 4:30 is what we're getting to know is that at least 4 police personnel came and put a seal on the gate that leads to the office of NewsClick. So the main entry that leads to the office has been completely restricted and shut here. But again, I would like to tell you at 6 o'clock the raid started here. 11:30 the editor-in-chief was brought here. Electronic devices were sealed, and after that, now this main entry has been sealed.
All right. Thanks very much, Akanksha. But the politics is only continuing over this entire process of searches that have been carried out. Remember, in the previous case that existed against NewsClick, they have got relief from court. But after what the New York Times published, a fresh set of emails were accessed, and in light of the fresh allegations, now a case against UAPA under UAPA has been registered. The political parties, though, are saying that this is nothing more than an effort to silence. Listen in.
I don't know what the details are because we had no prior information of anything. The police landed up saying they're making an inquiry on some bank loan that has been taken by this concerned person.
How do you see that certain journalists have been taken into the custody by the police? They're being questioned and the raids are being carried out at various places. How do
We
you see
strongly condemn it. Okay. Strongly condemn it. This is yet another brazen assault on media and the freedom of expression. And this is something which is not acceptable.
देखिए मुझे जस्टिफाई करने की जरूरत नहीं है। अगर किसी ने गलत किया है तो उसके ऊपर जांच एजेंसियां काम करती हैं और ये कहीं नहीं लिखा कि आपके पास अगर गलत तरीके से पैसा आया होगा, आपत्तिजनक कोई कार्य होगा तो उसके ऊपर कोई जांच एजेंसी कार्रवाई नहीं कर सकती। जांच एजेंसियां स्वतंत्र हैं, वो अपनी कार्रवाई नियमों को देखकर करती हैं।
मेरा अपना विचार है कि लगता है तानाशाही आ चुकी। ये आने वाले चुनाव के पहले भारतीय जनता पार्टी सरकार सारे पत्रकारों को संदेश दे रही है। हम स्वतंत्र भारत में स्वतंत्र पत्रकारिता के पक्षधर हैं। आतंकवाद के खिलाफ हमने हमेशा लड़ाई लड़ी है, हम उस लड़ाई को लड़ेंगे, परंतु उसकी आड़ में अगर झूठा फंसाया जाएगा पत्रकारों को तो हम पत्रकारिता के साथ खड़े हैं, पत्रकारों के साथ खड़े हैं और इस कदम की कठोरतम शब्दों में निंदा करते हैं।
देखिए, ये लोग कांग्रेस से भी फंडिंग है और कांग्रेस की सपोर्ट इनको मिली है और ये देश के अगेंस्ट जिस प्रकार से चाइना लगातार प्रोपेगेंडा करता रहता है, कांग्रेस भी चाइनीज फंड से चलती है। खुद राजीव फाउंडेशन में 1 करोड़ 35 लाख रुपया आया था और इस प्रकार से ये भी चाइनीज के द्वारा, चाइनीज जो चाहता है, जो खुद नहीं बोल सकता, इनके माध्यम से बुलवाता था और सरकार के पास सबूत है, फंडिंग हुई है, इनको पोषण किया गया है। इसलिए देश में कोई भी व्यक्ति देश के विरोधी गतिविधियों में इन्वॉल्व होगा, आज ये सरकार किसी प्रकार से भी बर्दाश्त नहीं करेगी।
Now remember, in August this year, Times Now had brought to you a series of emails, the entire mail trail, which now is being quoted by the government. Let's take you through each one of those emails and what they mean. The very first email and its significance, it was sent on the 6th of January 2021. This email goes from Neville Roy Singham to Prabir Purkayas. Now, why are both of these people important? Because Neville Roy Singham is the person about whom the New York Times wrote and spoke of how this man, who closely coordinated with the Chinese Communist Party, was in touch with organizations across the globe. In India, they spoke about NewsClick and Prabir Purkayas. So here's the email accessed by us between these two on the 6th of January 2021. What is the email saying? Let's show you the contents of this email, and this particular email goes on to say, if we can just progress and show you what the email actually says, it says, I think we missed the dotted line between India and China to the left east of Bhutan. What this email essentially says, that we have a certain way that the map of India is to be projected. They attached then a map. If we move on next, we'll show you the actual map that they say clearly China and India will have to have two maps inside their country. Why is the mail marked to an independent news portal talking about how the map of India show Arunachal, and further they then progress and show a map. In the next slide, they show this map of India where the border. Here is a map from the Diplomat where China claims Arunachal Pradesh. What is NewsClick's role in discussing India's border? This is mail number 1. Why was India's boundary with China in Arunachal Pradesh being discussed by a journalist with the likes of Neville Roy Singham, who it has been exposed now, has links, and in fact, he is on the payroll of the Communist Party of China. Email number 1. Now let's show you email number 2. that we accessed, and then we'll open this up to our guests as well. The second email is from Neville Roy Singham and again goes to Prabir Purkayas. This is from the 30th of March 2020. What does this talk about? This says we are going to write 3 article series on China and its handling of the virus. Which virus? They are basically talking about how China dealt with the COVID pandemic. Here, a person called Zhu is introduced to Prabir Purkayas. Why is he roped in to write on China's COVID handling? Let's show you next who exactly this Zhu is. This Zhu used to work for China Daily, which is the newspaper owned by Communist Party of China. You can see the linkages being drawn over here. So Prabir Purkayas is introduced to Zhu, who used to work for the Communist Party of China's mouthpiece. And then what all they go on to say? They say, we're going to write 3 articles. One article is going to be about how China handled the pandemic. The second is going to discuss how China learned quickly when handling the crisis. And finally, if we move on here, they extensively talk about how research is to be shared. And these 3 articles have to be written by an independent media organization in India, almost giving a clean hit to China on its handling of COVID. Now, the simple question is, and let me open this up before we show you the other 2 emails, shouldn't an investigation take place? Today, people are talking about witch hunt. Nobody's innocence nor guilt can be presumed. Is this an investigation or is this a witch hunt? Let me open this up. Joining us, Niti Jain, spokesperson of the BJP, Abhishek Banerjee, columnist, Vivek Bansal, leader of the Congress, and Shikha Mukherjee, senior journalist. Abhish Banerjee, as a columnist, I want to ask you first. Is the timing suspicious when elections are very close, when you've got the caste census, heating up the political discourse? Suddenly, an organization is raided.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked that this did not happen earlier, because it should have happened a lot earlier. If you look at this person, Neville Roy Singham, it is almost certain that he's a lobbyist for the Communist Party of China. And then you can also look at their links, which are alleged links with NewsClick. And I have actually seen some of the coverage of NewsClick, and I've shared it on my. You can go to their YouTube channel and see it yourself. And you can see how Prabir Purkayas, who is editor-in-chief of NewsClick, describes and puts up this wonderful defense of how the Chinese government has behaved in sharing information about COVID. I invite every single one of your viewers to go and watch that video and make up their own mind and decide which side this person is on India's side or on China's side. So I'm really surprised that it has taken so long for this very serious investigation to begin. So that's one point. And the other point that I really want to make quickly is that I have honestly, as a citizen, I've had enough of this intolerance, crushing dissent narrative that is being pushed. Because especially in the last 1 week, we have seen that the exact same language that has been used, that, India is crushing free speech, India is crushing dissent, that has been used by the same global liberal media all over the world to defame India on the Khalistan issue. They have clearly taken Canada's side, all these global liberal outlets, and they have used the exact same language, the exact same allegations that Indian liberals have been using inside India. Indian liberals have been making a lot of money writing for these global liberal outlets, and now these outlets are getting their money's worth by defaming India on Khalistan. Okay,
Shikha Mukherjee respond. Abhishek Banerjee's argument is that if somebody is seemingly lobbying for China's interests and gaining financially from it, should an investigation not take place?
See, there was an investigation last year. There is an investigation which is ongoing. And frankly, I have other things to say. Because, yes, investigations, law will take its own course. This country is ruled by law. Therefore, law has to take its own course. There's no question about whether it should or it shouldn't. There is no such question that ought to be even addressed. And none of us, I think, are going to say that no law should not take its own course.
But actually, isn't that what is happening? When the law is taking its course, it is being called a witch hunt.
Take its own course.
But every single political party, ma'am, is calling it a witch hunt.
However, there are laws and there are laws. If the issue is of money, yes, there was the Enforcement Directorate investigation. If the issue is of influence, then also there is a problem. But journalists are not terrorists. And let me also say that Prabir Purkayas was not the only one whose house was raided at 6 o'clock in the morning. nor is he the only one who was taken in for interrogation. There are many, many other journalists, Paranjoy Ghotakutta, Abhinandan, Abhishar Sarma, Bhasha Singh. Why were all these people also raided? What for? Are they the people who are running NewsClick?
Abhishek Banerjee. Abhishek Banerjee.
No, you have to give me a chance to speak, as you gave Mr. Abhishek Banerjee. Okay. And my other question is, what does it mean when you say UAPA? You are saying that they're terrorists. Are journalists terrorists?
Okay, you have a specific question. UAPA is an overreach. Abhishek Banerjee.
Hashmi is a historian. Sanjay Rajoura is not a journalist. How were they also involved in this raid?
Abhishek Banerjee, journalists being branded terrorists? UAPA?
I think, I do not think any of these people have been charged under UAPA. I mean, the names like Abhisar or Bora. Some of them have been questioned. That's exactly how an investigation takes place. You go to the people who are close to the main suspect in some matter, and then you ask them questions. What is so wrong in such people being questioned? Why are these people always so nervous? And that's what I'm saying. The same language that has been always used, that journalism is being stopped, journalism is being shut down in this country. This is the same language that has been used by the global liberal media in India.
Shikha Mukherjee responding.
You do not have to even provide. In UAPA, the presumption is, as your news report showed, that the lawyers were not being given access to the people who have been arrested. They were picked up. Under what law? UAPA. In UAPA, for 3 months, you can keep a person in custody and you do not have to answer any questions. Is that what journalism is all about?
Niti Jain, answer. Niti Jain, answer.
Is that what we are?
You practice the law yourself.
Is that what Sanjay Rajoura is? Is that what Abhinandan is?
Okay.
Is that what
leave alone Pradeep Porkayas. All right, fine, there are emails. What about Sanjay Rajoura? What about a historian?
Kept in custody for 3 months?
Padmaja, my simple point here is, I understand how agitated Madam is, but the point is, what is the point of coming out, the political parties and otherwise, let the investigation happen? The ED or the other organizations are not going to randomly question. I'm sure they did not come to any of the other media houses or anything. It's not a random questioning that's happening. They have evidence. They are questioning them. Let the investigation happen. If you think they are wrong, if anything is going wrong as per the agencies, come out once the investigation is done. At least take it seriously. If you are running an agenda of China and you are altering the borders of India, what do you call this? This is knowingly doing something that is wrong for the integrity of this country, and you cannot be taking sides of people before even the investigation has happened.
Okay,
you
Mr.
cannot
Bansal.
hold everybody in court.
Mr. Bansal, nobody will be picked out randomly is the argument.
Definitely, Padmaja, as you see, if what I could gather and what I've been able to learn, that Singham, he was interviewed with NewsClick, he was in communication and there are charges against him. That is perfectly fine. And if he's doing anything, you see, as far as India's border is concerned, there is sort of an impression that it's being compromised. Definitely law should take its own course. But as we had been noticing in recent times, and particularly in this India regime, more than 70 journalists have been harassed or bulldozed. Their voices have been, tried to calm down, and this has been the norm of this government. And this is one of the grievances we all have, that freedom of expression in this constitution expects. This is not being condoned, or this is not flourishing at the moment. The moment you do anything, you see, as definitely there is no business to slap a terrorist, anti-terrorist act against the journalist. Definitely, I would again reiterate and reaffirm that law should take anybody who is working against the country, but there are other charges, you see, other than bringing out these harsh laws against that person. So there has to be some norms. And general impression in this country at the moment is that journalists who have the cheek or who have
spine to speak against the present-day regime. Their voices are muzzled.
Niti Jain, the trend suggests that you're going after dissidents. Yes.
You know, this comes from a party that has recently taken out a list to boycott the journalists that don't speak as per them. And they are today talking about freedom of speech. Freedom of speech ke naam par desh nahi bech dijiyega. If there is an evidence with the organizations, the action will be taken. There are NGOs from political parties who have been funding NewsClick. I think they need to come out and answer what is the kind of propaganda they are into.
Okay.
We are not after dissent. Please give me the list that you are talking about 70 journalists. Please give me that list.
Okay, I think the main point being made over here is the use of UAPA. What are the grounds? Will this stand in court? Is this not too harsh a section and a law to be using even in a case like this? Will it stand in court? That is going to be the most important factor. We're going to focus on this further at 8 p.m. when I see you next on India Upfront. For the time being, though, thanks very much, both gentlemen, Ms. Shikha Mukherjee and Niti Jain, for joining me. I'll see you at 8.